All right, WinWing sent me an F-16 ICP and MFDs. Let's check them out. First, we'll take a look at the ICP. When I opened the box, I found it to be very well packaged, just like everything else I've gotten from WinWing. Inside, you'll find the stand legs, some hardware, tools, USB cable, silicon pads, sticky tack circles, and the folding arm in case you have the F-18 ICP. Underneath that, you'll find the actual ICP. Once I got it out of the packaging, I found everything to be high quality, just like everything else I've gotten from WinWing so far. The rollers have a little bit of friction to them, so that they don't just roll easily. The metal switches feel like high quality. The switch for the one reset is correct. It returns to center. Going down, but going up, it sticks. The dauber switch, you can feel a little bit of a click here. All the keypad buttons are very rubbery and mushy. Everything feels really nice. Underneath, you'll see where the USB port is, and the hole mounts for the stand legs. First, let's get the stand on. Once you get the plastic off, get the hardware, put the nuts inside the grooves on the sides of the ICP. You'll see a little channel there. Once you have those in, you can line up the bolt and tighten it down. Do this for all 4 of them. The channel will actually hold the nut in place. You don't have to worry about a wrench or anything like that. Once you have that on, you can turn it around, and you'll notice there is no friction pads on this, so this thing's just going to slide all over the place. So some sort of friction is absolutely mandatory. Now I chose to grab the sticky tack circles and stick those on, and then put it on my desk. This seems to hold it in place really well. Next, we want to attach the cable bracket. Just push that in place onto the cable and then slide the bolt through. Now there's different places you can attach this, so find the one that works best for you. I chose to follow the instructions. Tighten that up, plug it in directly to your motherboard, and then you'll see it connect to your SimApp Pro software. Once it's connected, you should see a notification that it needs an update. If you don't see this, click on the device and click the Firmware Update tab. Then click Update WinWing ICP. Next, you're going to want to make sure you unplug all the devices that are connected except for the ICP. Once they're all disconnected except for the ICP, click OK and click OK again. And that'll start the install. You should see the green light flashing on the back of the ICP during the install. Once the install is finished, click Test and start pressing all those buttons. Make sure that everything works. The rollers are working, the buttons are working, everything that you press corresponds to it on the test page. As long as everything looks good, you can go ahead and minimize SimApp Pro and launch DCS. And I found that once everything was installed on the SimApp Pro and I just launched DCS, got everything bound up, it worked perfectly. I gotta say, I did not expect myself to actually enjoy it as much as I did. Having an actual physical interface to interact with the sim was more fun than I thought it would be. Alright, so while I was at the Flight Sim Expo 2024 in Las Vegas, I was able to go to Nellis Air Base, meet up with a buddy of mine, and he was able to get me out onto the flight line and into a cockpit. Now, I tried to bring this with me, and I did bring it on base, this along with the stick, throttle, and all that, but I was unable to bring this out onto the flight line, and I was not able to take any photos or video or anything. I wasn't able to get any clearance from public relations. So unfortunately, I don't have any comparative videos with the real thing. So the best I could do was get out on the flight line, sit in a cockpit. It's been about 15, 16 years since I touched a real ICP. So I wanted to get refamiliarized and just touch and feel everything. Sat in the cockpit, took a bunch of notes, and then went out to the parking lot immediately afterwards. Took this out of the trunk of the car and touched and felt everything here, and took notes of and kind of compared the real thing with what WinWing has. So got my notes from Nellis Air Base here. The COM buttons are very close to the real same and feel of the real ICP. So just so you know, this is actually kind of how they feel in real life. The number buttons though are way too mushy. The real number buttons are hard and they have a clicky sound. You can hear the click, but WinWings, if you can hear, they're very rubbery. You don't really hear anything. So the real ones actually have a click, but these do not. The up and down buttons, this one and this one over here, they're also too mushy. The real ones on the real ICP are clicky. They have a click sound and they're harder. They're not a soft rubber like this. And these up and down buttons, they actually don't rock up and down. They're actually a solid piece, and pushing the top makes a click and pushing the bottom makes a click. They don't rock like this. It's hard to explain, but there's just a click on the top and the bottom. They don't actually move on the real ICP. The roller wheels have metal wheels underneath. You can actually look underneath the real ICP, and these rollers here, there's metal underneath. There's a plastic outer shell here to be able to grab it and touch it and move it, but the inside is metal. So plastic outer corrugated edge on the real ICP, inner metal. The dauber switch is floaty in the real ICP, so that's the best way I could describe it. The dauber has a greater range of motion in the real ICP. This one doesn't really move as much as the real one, and it has a different kind of look and feel, but that's the best I can describe it. Other than that, these switches, the warn reset and the gain auto, all that, these feel like the real deal, just like the real ICP, and these buttons here look and feel like the real ICP. I have no complaints about this thing. I mean, if you're looking for an exact replica of the F-16's real life ICP, this isn't exactly the same just because of the mushy buttons. They don't click like the real one, and this one doesn't click, and this one doesn't click like it should. The dauber isn't quite the same, and there aren't metal wheels underneath here. That, and I don't remember it feeling as smooth. And the real one, it's a little bit more rough. And that could just be I was sitting in an old Block 40. They might be a little smoother like this in newer blocks, but yeah, I got to sit in the Block 40, which is what I used to cruise, so it was good to sit in the old jet again. The DED, on the Block 40, this DED is over to the side, but in newer blocks of the F-16, it actually is on top of the ICP, just like this, so, well, similar to this. So I like it. I think this is great. I'm enjoying it. This is, I mean, if you're looking for accuracy, this is pretty darn close. Close enough that I have no complaints. And I had a lot of fun playing with it and testing it, so yeah, this is awesome.
Next, we're going to open up the MFD buttons. Same thing, very well packaged. Inside, you'll find a metal plate. This is just a placeholder in case you didn't order the LCD screen. Under that, you'll find the USB cable, some hardware, and some tools, and some more sticky tack circles. Get the button face out. Under that, you'll find the stand legs. First thing, we're going to get this metal plate underneath the MFD. Again, this is just a placeholder in case you didn't get the LCD screen. Just 4 screws. Make sure you put the spacers in place through the stand legs and attach them to the back 4 holes. They should screw directly into the MFD button frame, so you don't need a nut or anything like that on each screw. Should just bolt directly in. Once all 4 are installed, you can set it down on your desk, plug it in, and start using it. Now, if you did order the LCD screen, like what was sent to me, then you'll install that instead of the plate. So next we're going to go over the MFD LCD screen. Again, very well packaged. Inside, you'll find a USB 3.0 cable, some tools, the hardware, and the screen itself. Once you get the screen out, go ahead and pull that protective film off and turn it around. On the back, you'll find the inputs, USB 3.0
and a USB-C. Take all 4 screws out of the front of the LCD screen. As you loosen them, the nuts will just fall right out of the bottom. Hold on to the nuts, you'll use them later. Next, we're going to take the 4 corner screws out of the MFD button face. Line it up with the LCD screen. And then we're going to take the bag of hardware that came with the LCD screen and separate the long bolts. These will go into each corner, and they should be long enough to go all the way through the MFD face, all the way through the LCD, and to the back. On the back, you're going to find an empty groove where the nut will fit. This is nice, you won't need a wrench. You just put that nut in there, tighten the screw, it'll hold the nut in place. Do the same thing for all 4 holes. And you're done assembling. Next, we're going to attach the USB cable and route it. Take the cable bracket out of the screw, you have 2 of them, and put both of them onto the cable. Make sure that it's going to line up the way you want. Put the bolt through the stand legs, they should go all the way through, and then put the nut on the back. Tighten it up. And do the same for the second. Once they're routed, we're going to set up the video USB, which should be the USB 3.0 cable. Plug that into the bottom underneath the screen. And then we're going to put those sticky tack circles on the bottom of the stand legs. Do the same thing for the second MFD and stick them on either side of your ICP. Next, we're going to install the firmware of the MFDs. Just go to the SimApp Pro software, click Firmware Update, then click Update MFD 1. Make sure you unplug all your devices if you have anything plugged in, and then click OK, and then OK. This will install the firmware for the MFD button face. Once it's installed, click the Test tab and make sure that everything works and the corresponding buttons show as being pressed on the software that you're actually pressing. Make sure you press the divider buttons in between the OSB buttons. Also, don't forget about the 3-way switch on the side of the MFD. Next, we're going to click on the Game Peripheral Display tab. Make sure you're inside the Check MFD Display Driver section. And then if the display driver has already been downloaded, then you're good to go. But if it has not, if it's red, click Download. Once it's been downloaded, click Install. Once the installer starts up, click Upgrade. This will install the DisplayLink graphics driver. Then click Finish. From here, go ahead and close the SimApp Pro software. Click Yes, and make sure you reboot the PC. Once it's been rebooted, right-click the desktop and click Display Settings. You should see both of your LCD screens as extra monitors connected to your computer. Select each one, scroll down, and make sure they are set to Portrait. Make sure you do this for both. Once they're both set to portrait, you can close Display Settings, then relaunch the SimApp Pro software. Click on the Game Peripheral Display tab, and then go to the next step. You're going to want to do each step individually. Check info about DCS World, make sure that all that is set correctly. Set game screen, select the monitor you want to play DCS on. Set DCS camera mode. If you're going to be playing DCS in surround mode on 3 monitors, select the 3 camera, otherwise select 1 camera. Then click Apply. Set the scaling and layout, make sure that your 2 MFDs are set right next to your game monitor and click Apply. Next, we're going to set up the MFD display inside DCS. You'll see the ID numbers on each of the MFDs. Make sure that you select the correct MFD for the left and right. So number 9 is on my left, number 8 is on my right. I don't have a third screen, so we're going to click Apply. Next, check monitor status when DCS is running. Make sure everything's status is normal. Then minimize Synapse Pro. Do not close it. Now you should be good to go ahead and start DCS. Once DCS is running, I went ahead and just started an instant action mission so I could just play around with this, and it worked great immediately. Now I know some people have complained that the LCD screens are very dim, they're not very bright, and I have it on fairly good authority at Eagle Dynamics that this is not an issue with WinWing's LCDs, rather it's an issue inside DCS and how it exports video to the MFD screens. But honestly, I didn't have much trouble with the lights on or off. Now there is a workaround to this that you can use. I'll put the link in the description below. It's a reshade filter that you can use to make these much brighter. But again, that is a complete band-aid. It is not a fix, just a band-aid. So once a fix is introduced into DCS, that'll no longer be needed. So I'm just gonna wait for the fix. So as a former F-16 crew chief, this ICP, is it exactly the same as the real F-16 ICP? No, it's not exactly the same. Is it close? Absolutely. Is it good enough? Absolutely. In my opinion, I think this is good enough. I think it's great. Of course, there are some people out there that are sticklers for accuracy and real life. You know, it needs to be exactly the same, and this wouldn't be good enough for them. If you're one of those people, if you need the exact same thing, I'm sure there's something else out there. But as far as the consumer market goes, something that anyone can get their hands on, I think this is great. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually surprised how much I'm enjoying this. So yeah, that's my thoughts here. I think it's great. The MFDs, albeit these were designed after the F-18 Hornets control panels, but these work perfectly fine in DCS for the F-16 MFDs. I've had no problem using these. Just map all the OSBs and you're set and good to go. So my personal opinion, I think it's great. It's a great product, very well made. None of this is, I don't feel like most of this is metal, but it is very high grade plastic and it's very well made in my opinion. So I'm very happy with the quality. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't look cheap. I think it's worth it. I'm really enjoying it. I honestly didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I have. But yeah, very fun. Definitely recommend. All right. Hope that helped.